Okay, so this video is going to be about building a bird feeder that is squirrel proof because this bird feeder failed. Okay, so as you can see, this bird feeder failed, and the reason why this bird feeder failed is because the squirrels, mostly squirrels, there were some chipmunks up there too, literally chewed the entire bottom of this pail out in order for them to get to the seed. So we are going to re-engineer this bird feeder, reusing most of what you see here, so we can build a bird feeder that is not going to fail because of chipmunks deciding to chew away at the cup that holds the bird seed in it. So we're going to redesign this, and I'm going to show you what I got in mind. Okay, so the new design that I came up with is we're not going to totally scrap the old bird feeder, but I'll show you how we're going to reapply this bird feeder so it works with what we already built. Okay, so we're going to reuse the old stick because there's nothing wrong with the stick. And what we're going to do now is we're going to use 2 metal cans to actually create our bird feeder. So we're going to follow the same concept that we did here as far as the way the seed feeds down. So we're going to use this thing this time, okay, to hold our bird seed. Now you're probably saying, well, why don't you just fill that up with bird seed and let them pick out of it? I don't want that design. I want something that's sealed and contained. That way it doesn't get wet and it's, you know, it slowly feeds down and so on. If you put all your seed into here, it could spill, the animals can knock it out, it can get wet and get fungusy. So I want to keep it inside this container. It keeps it nice and dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a metal can. Now this is like a sauce can. These are the large sauce cans. You'll see them in the store. Sometimes you see sauerkraut or beans or any vegetables. They're usually packed in this size can. It's a large size can. I'm not sure. It's not the real large cans, but it's bigger than the, I don't know, pint size cans. So it's maybe a half a quart or something. They're the bigger cans. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we are going to cut a couple slices and make a mouth just like we did with this. Same concept. Then we're going to drill some holes and we're going to insert our stick in there so that birds can sit on it and eat the seed. So it'll basically be a design like this, and then this is going to sit in here, and either I'm going to drill another stick to hold that up, or I'm going to use this stick to be the gauge in which this sits on here, because it needs to come up off the bottom a little bit. So once that's in there and that's put together like that, this can is now going to sit on top, and so the bird feeder is now completely encased in cans like so. Okay, that is now your bird feeder. These cans, what we're going to do, we're just going to cut this here, and we're going to use this as something to keep this top can in place, to keep it from falling off. Also too, I'm going to also add the rain hood to it just to keep the water off it, and I'm going to drill a couple of holes on the bottom of the can, which I didn't do before. I forgot to do it. You absolutely need to drill some holes in there, because if it gets wet, the seed is going to sprout or it's going to rot and mold. You definitely have to put holes in the bottom part of the can where the seed is. Now I'll show you all of that once we get to it. As far as the bird seeder holder, I'm just using the Parmesan, great value from Walmart. It's the large size Parmigiano. You can use that size jar. That's what I'm going to be using for this project. This is just, like I told you, the large sauce cans, and that's basically it. Okay, so here it is. I did record some of the other stuff, or I tried to record as I was building it and explaining stuff, and apparently the camera didn't record. So I ended up building it all anyway, and so here we are. So basically what I did was, we added the top, as opposed to the old design, we added the top to it, and I also punched a few holes down on the bottom, so if it gets wet, it has a way to drain. Or if it fills up with water or whatnot, like it could drain out. So what we did was, basically, I made the can like I did in the previous video, where I did it the same way. I just basically cut the can and bent the top part in, same thing. I put the stick right below it, and that stick is the metering rod basically for your seed container. And this is your seed container, basically the same thing. I just drilled a hole in it, and that sits on top of here, on top of this stick, metering rod stick, and then that way it can flow and then sit at the right height. So that's the height that I wanted it at, and that's where it is. Okay, so that's how that works. Just basically drilled a hole in there and did my thing. That's the inside of it. And we just simply switched it out from the plastic stuff to the metal. That way now the squirrels can't chew the opening for the can, so the birds can eat their seeds. And I also added this to it. It's part of the original container, so I took like a center section of it out and I really stretched it tight and hard around this lip to get it on here. But the reason why I did that was because now I have a seal that will keep the rain out, at least out of that crack, and it'll also keep the cans lined up. So that's why I did that. But you don't have to do that. I mean, I did it because I need something to hold this can on here and make it stable. Though I do have this ring in here as a protector to kind of keep it in place if it, needs to. But once that's all together, your seed thing is inside and all that's together, and then you can just pull your hood down. And now you got a rain cover for the top of it, which isn't exactly straight. You can see it's offset a little bit, but this way it looks good. Offset that way, but no good that way. And so now this thing is not going to flip over or spill or seeds going to come out of it. Nope. It's in there, and now the squirrels can't get to it. So let me fill it up, get all the seeds put in there, and get everything that all done. Hang it up in the back, and we'll see if we can get some birds. And really what I want to see is how the squirrels are going to deal with the steel containers now. So see you in a bit. All right, so there it is. It's all set up again. And we're going to see how it fares against the chipmunks and the squirrels and all of that kind of stuff. So once I get some action, I will get some videotape, whether it's a squirrel, chipmunk, or a bird. And birds are what we're targeting. So we'll see you once we get a little bit of action.